Welcome back. In this first chapter, we will take a look at how you are currently dividing your time. We will do some critical thinking about your priorities. We will discuss the importance of managing your moments, and we will provide some useful takeaway materials you can use to help better manage your busy schedule. But first, let's have some straight talk about time. If you're like most people who are struggling with limited time resources, you've probably wished you had more time each day to do all the things you need to do. For example, let's say each day consisted of 30 hours instead of 24. Over the course of a year, this additional time would add up to a whopping 13 weeks per year. What would you do with an extra 13 weeks each year? Surely this extra time would relieve the tremendous pressure under which we live, right? We would have more time to finish those projects at work, build that treehouse for the kids, or even make good on our promise to clean out the garage. Now honestly, would a 30-hour day really solve the problem? Or would we fill up this time using the same time management strategies we use now, and soon be just as frustrated as we are with our current 24-hour day? The sad reality is that more time is probably not the answer. If you really stop and think about it, the demands on our time never really stop. And if we had more time each day, we'd probably just fill it up with more demands. So it's not a question of how much time we have. It's a question of how we use the time we have. Please click the resources link at the top of the page and download the Excel workbook titled My Time Management Plan. We will be using this workbook throughout the course, so you will want to save it to your computer under your name. When you open the workbook, you will notice that there are numerous colored tabs across the bottom of the page. Some tabs start with an X. These are the exercises from Section 2. Other tabs start with an A. These are activities from Section 3. The remaining tabs start with an N. These are the next steps, or opportunities to integrate the tools and tips from this course into your daily routine, which we will discuss in Section 5. The course will pause while you complete activities in the workbook. The most convenient way to complete this section is to have both screens side by side on your monitor. To do this, simply click the Restore Down icon in the upper right-hand corner of your browser window. Then hover at the edges of the window until you see the arrow icon. Drag the edges of the window until you get it the size you want. Then open the Excel workbook and do the same. You can then move these smaller windows around until you can see both screens at the same time. To get started, click on the blue tab titled X1 My Time. This exercise was designed to give you a starting point analysis of how you currently see your time being divided. At this point, the lesson will pause while you read and follow the instructions provided on the Workbook tab. When you have completed Exercise 1, minimize the workbook and click the Next button to continue. Before you can implement strategies to help you make more effective use of the time you have, you must first evaluate how you currently use your time and decide what is important and what is a priority. For most busy professionals, trying to balance work time and personal time is a daily challenge, and one many find to be a losing battle. Not being able to balance these factors will often result in a growing collection of unfinished obligations. Have you ever stopped to consider the effect these unfinished obligations have on you? Left unresolved, these obligations eat away at our self-confidence and can have a very serious detrimental effect on our ability to focus. The more we perceive that we have not succeeded, the more stress we build up. As this stress builds up, we begin to question our abilities, which in turn limits our effectiveness. And the more we resign ourselves to accepting our situation, the more we seek to deflect blame for these perceived failures away from ourselves. When you get behind in your work, do you find yourself making excuses, avoiding interactions with others who you think might know, feeling overwhelmed and not knowing where to start, or procrastinating even the small things because you just don't have the energy? Perhaps some of these common reactions to stress sound familiar. For some people, the stress can build to the point where they become completely ineffectual at their job. But it doesn't have to be this way. There is a simple answer, and it is a skill set you already possess. It's called prioritizing. Now, it's not a magic bullet, and it won't happen overnight, but you can learn to think critically about your priorities and to break big problems down into manageable chunks that you can tackle one step at a time. Breaking things down, developing a plan, and holding yourself accountable to your targets not only gets this backlog of work done, it has the added benefit of increasing your self-confidence, which in turn will lower your stress level and improve your overall performance. Let's begin with a discussion as to why each of us defines priorities a little differently, and assessment of how you define priorities. Our priorities are based on our personal value set, and our value set is based on our personal experiences. So it's no surprise that everyone has a different theory on what is valuable and what is a priority. It is also important to note that our values affect every aspect of our lives, including how we determine priorities and make decisions, which means that the things we value can and will affect our work. When your priorities do not align to your personal value set, the results can manifest into feelings such as guilt, because perhaps you are not spending as much time with your family as you would like, or self-doubt because deadlines are not being met or goals are not being achieved. Let's do a quick assessment exercise. In this exercise, you will be asked to categorize a list of factors regarding your work life, your personal life, and your relationships, labeling each as VI, very important, SI, somewhat important, or NI, not important. This exercise will help you begin to analyze your personal value set and what is and is not a priority for you. Maximize or open the workbook titled My Time Management Plan and click on the orange tab titled X2 My Values. Read and follow the instructions provided at the top of the page. Again, this lesson will pause while you complete this exercise. When you are finished, save and minimize the workbook. Then click the Next button to continue.